Thank you, Kevin, and distinguished guests. I just want to let you know I'm very proud to be here among all you wonderful people. I see a lot of great veterans out there. Raise your hands if you're a veteran. Congratulations, you're great for this America. You know, you might ask yourself, why is Bill Taylor up here? Why is he talking to us today? What does he have to say? And I know I don't want to make this boring, so I really went into myself and I said, I want to be able to explain about veterans and understand where we're all coming from. So as a combat-hardened Marine in a special landing force, we fought 27 operations. In that 27 operations in 13 months, I received 3 Purple Hearts, the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry, and 2 Presidential Unit Citations. But there are other people out there that have done just as well, if not even better than me. But a lot of us, we don't want to talk about it because it's so hard inside. And that's why I wrote the book on full automatic. I wanted everybody to know what this country and what people had to do in order to fight for America. And it's healing a lot of veterans right now. But I want to tell the story. I want to tell the story what inspired me to write this incredible book. And what did it was, I remember when I first came home, I became an insurance man and I won a trip. And the trip was to one of the cities in America, and they had a keynote speaker that was, he was to motivate people to be able to sell more insurance. So I thought, okay, I'll look at the guy, and here he was a lieutenant in the Navy. Here this combat Marine is going, what can a Navy guy tell me? And so I'm sitting there in the audience, and he gets up there and he says, my name is Lieutenant Coffee. And I was in a jet airplane flying over North Vietnam when my plane was hit with anti-aircraft fire, and I lost all the hydraulics. He said, I turned my plane fast towards the ocean, but I couldn't make it. And me and my co-pilot, we had to bail out, and in that bailing out, I dislocated my right shoulder and got a concussion. He said, I got on the ground, and both of us were captured immediately. And we were taken off and we were beaten, and he said, all of a sudden the American jets and helicopters were overhead, and they came in, and one of them was strafing all the enemy and killed the co-pilot. He said, I want to talk about what happened to me at the Hanoi Hilton. So he started talking about this unbelievable journey of 7 years of what he had to go through, of starvation and beatings and constant pain and suffering. And I was there in awe. Changed my life watching him. So from then, I went to, I became a member of the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Now, you have to be a wounded veteran in order to be a member of that organization. So I wanted to talk to the different people, and I started getting in, and I met Wendell Lowe, and he was on Peleliu. He told me how he was in the trenches at Peleliu and how he fought and how he was wounded, how he was carried out of there. And I talked to Iwo Jima vet, and I'm going, my gosh, I'm in the midst of heroes. I talked to another guy, Harold Jenkins. Harold Jenkins, he's just like the people here in the crowd, just a regular person. And I started talking to him, and he says, yeah, Bill, he says, I was in World War II. I was in New Guinea, and I ended up getting malaria, and I got wounded, and I eventually got out. But all of a sudden, I stayed in, and the Korean War came, and I decided to stay in and fight in the Korean War. And he said, I was wounded in Korea. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this guy fought in 2 wars. Then he said, oh yeah, by the way, I was also fought in Vietnam. Now here's a man who had 3 Purple Hearts out of it. He fought in 3 different wars, and he's just a regular person, just like the people standing out here. That wasn't the end of my journey at the Purple Heart. We had this big dinner. It was the George Washington dinner, and in regards to the Purple Heart. And so who was attending? You're not gonna believe this. 2 World War veterans. They were in their 90s. One of them fought at the Somme, the Battle of the Somme, and he was wounded by artillery. He didn't want to talk about it too much. It still affected him. But then I talked to the other guy, and he fought in the Battle of the Argonne. And he was a guy that went from trench to trench giving messages and back and forth. And he told me, I mean, I'm so shocked to listen to this guy about what his service was to this country. And what it was is he had to deliver a message to another company, and the machine gun fire was like incredible. He said, I was dodging, and all of a sudden they shot me in the leg. And then he crawled all the way back and made it to deliver the message. He never got an award and never got anything for it, but he said, I'm very proud to have served this country. Well, my journey didn't end there. I continued to get more and more involved. I got involved with the Vietnam Veterans Center to help veterans with their lives and help them process out of Vietnam. And then I remember I started joining other organizations, American Legion Post 20, and also the DAV in Hammond, Indiana. And these organizations really try to help veterans, especially as Congressman Mrvan had said, that the PACT Act really did help a lot of people, and the American Legion and the DAV also did that. Well, as a member of the DAV, we saw a veteran. He was in Afghanistan, and he got blown up. And we found out that he didn't have a lot of money, and he had to have constant treatment because he had no legs, he had one arm gone, and all he had was a half of an arm with a hook. And his wife had to help him and assist him to go all across the country and all these different surgeries. They raised $250,000 for that wife and family. I think these are incredible, incredible things that we do for our veterans, and that's what we're all about in the different organizations, is trying to help all these veterans. Now, it doesn't end there. So I belong to the 3rd Marine Division Association. I'm the secretary of it. Also, I'm the president of the 1st Battalion, 3rd Marine chapter of the 3rd Marine Division. And we had this big dinner at the end of one of the reunions. And Barney Bynum, some of you may know who he is. He won the Congressional Medal of Honor. And he talked about what happened to him in Vietnam. And I'm just blown away by all these different people that God has given me to be able to share with all of you. And Barney Bynum, he was an observer. He was the one, the observer that would call in airstrikes and artillery. He was with 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines in 1966, and the North Vietnamese had overwhelmed them and had come and completely annihilated. Every single officer was either wounded or killed. There was all kinds of casualties. And he realized he was the commanding officer, and he took charge, and he started calling in airstrikes. And after all the airstrikes had totally decimated the North Vietnamese, they started to retreat, and he regrouped that entire battalion, and they charged, and they kicked them right out of the DMZ. And that's the determination that our veterans have. I want to thank you all for being here. I wanted to share this story with you, and I want to tell you, God bless you, and God bless the veterans, and God bless America.